Welcome to this PAECT Pod special segment, Tech Tools. This is an excerpt from the PAECT Pod, episode 26, long-time listener, first-time caller. In this segment, co-host Eric Verno and Dom Salvucci, along with special guest Gina Ligori, discuss the following tech tools and resources: CreativeCommons.org, Screencastify.com, and the AI-infused classroom. I hope you find this special segment edition both useful and entertaining. I'm special guest announcer Lucas. Thank you for listening.
Dom, we're going to let you lead off. You're going to be our lead batter tonight.
Nice. So, this is not so much it's a tool, but it's CreativeCommons.org. I know I've talked about advanced Google image searches. Go to CreativeCommons.org. You can not only use this in your classroom for creating projects, but you can make it a project yourself and contribute to the use of open source images and sounds and such like that. Go to CreativeCommons.org, and they have the different licenses and explain what Creative Commons is. It's a way, it basically allowing people to use your work. And if you go to the Share Your Work tab, you have different licenses. I usually use a attribution share alike license on the work that I publish. But they have all these tools, and a lot of people use Flickr, Vimeo, YouTube, and other things such as, now there was SoundCloud on here before. Now I can't find them. But SoundCloud's one for sound. Basically, what you can do is you can contribute to open source images, open source sound, music, and whatnot. And from there, kind of, we use a lot of these images in our classrooms. Hopefully, we're using them with proper usage rights. But you can contribute and kind of give back and put more information in. So you go through the Openverse, search Creative Commons licensing. There's all different kinds of stuff. You have Google, Vimeo, Wikipedia Commons, SoundCloud, is what we were talking about earlier. You can create your own music, upload it to SoundCloud. I know a lot of bands and musicians that are trying to come on into their own. They'll put some music out for people to share, and then they hold others back. Like, okay, if you like this is good, but if you want some other stuff, they'll license it out. So some of it's free, some of it is licensable with money. Flickr, a lot of people use for saving photos. And some of these other sites I haven't used. Google Images, obviously, people have used. But it's a way to give back and kind of help out. Plus, you can use it in your classroom because these images you're allowed to use. And that's the important part is, usage rights and showing the kids appropriate usage. So I like Creative Commons in general. I know I've talked about this topic before, but it is a good way to give back to, this. And I actually make it an enrichment assignment for my kids. I always tell them, if you're taking photos, nothing inappropriate, nothing too personal, but kids are always taking selfies. Kids are taking pictures in the parking lot, be reels and such. People take nature photos, take pictures, upload them to Flickr, upload them to some of these other places. There's nothing in there that's giving away personal information, but contribute back to, you use these for your projects, and it's a hobby of yours. Get out there, get your name out there. Someone may find your work, and because everyone's always looking to come up with hobbies and stuff. It's just a way to network and contribute back. So, CreativeCommons.org.
Very cool. That definitely seems like some updating since the last time I've seen it and used it. And yeah, definitely really cool. The fact that they built all that in.
That's I mean, the Wikimedia Commons, Wikipedia Commons, I use that a lot in class, and I show the kids, like, we'll go through the advanced Google image search. You can go this way too, and there's a lot of other things, but because, school site, I'm not certain. A lot of the stuff comes up through advanced Google image search. We have the safe search on, so you're not going to get any inappropriate pictures posted there. So I'm a little bit hesitant to go in a classroom setting to try those other sites without the Google filter on there, because one bad click and you could be in trouble. So from a classroom setting, I go through the advanced Google image search. The safe search is locked on through our school filter, but a lot of those sites, Flickr and stuff like that, they pop up, and those are some of the sites that Google will go to get the images you can use. So,
is there music on there too that you can pull from that site? Nice.
Yes. So, and I know like a lot of if you are paying for certain video processing, they have the music built in and stuff that you can use, but this is for kids working on their own. And there's a lot out there you can check with and see. And if SoundCloud's a big one, and that's where, like I said, a lot of musicians that are trying to get their legs underneath them put music out, and there's some good stuff out.
Very cool. All right, another good tech note. All right, Gina, would you like to go next?
Sure. So the tech note that I have to share is one.
Oh, hold on 1 second. We got a quick transition. Here we go.
Let me do my screen there. There we go. Now it's official.
All right, now it's official. There we go.
All right. So the tech note that I have to share is one that has been around for a little while now, I feel like, but it is Screencastify. And this is one that I've been using more frequently in my classroom with my kids as of late, primarily to practice some of those public speaking skills. I feel like coming out of COVID and the COVID era and, everything that kind of came with it, our speaking and our presentation skills were needing a little bit of work. But there was also an extra nervousness with speaking in front of your peers. And I feel like that's a high school thing anyway to begin with. I just feel like coming out of the pandemic, it was maybe a little bit stronger than what we have seen in the past. So, this is a tool here that I've been incorporating a little bit more into my room, just to allow kind of a safer, more private place for my kids to put together presentations and to share presentations, to practice those speaking skills, not reading from the slide, eye contact, citing sources, things like that they may be a little more nervous to do in person. I feel like Screencastify kind of gives me the opportunity to allow them to do that. They know that I'm going to see it. My co-teacher is going to see it. We're not going to share it with the class. And I feel like it just gives them a little bit of extra confidence while they practice those skills. And I can still essentially see what it is that I want them to complete in terms of the presentation skills just on a video platform. So Screencastify, we actually have it. If you're a Google user, you can add it as an extension, and it will always be kind of clipped to the top. And I don't know if it's hard to see on this little screen here, but the down to your extensions there, and then you'll have it's a little orange arrow with a camera on it, and it's always embedded there for us. You can pin it if you're a Google user, and it'll make it very accessible on your screen. And it's something that it gives you these three options here. So you can do screen recording only, a webcam only, or the screen and webcam. And what I find that I like to do is choose the screen and webcam. And I like to have my kids use the screen and webcam because it will put them kind of like we are on the screen right now in a smaller portion. So they can still have Google Slides behind them. Or if they're working on, sharing information and research from a website, they can still have that on their screen. Essentially the equivalent to what would be on the board behind them presenting in front of a class or in a group setting. But Screencastify with this option here with the webcam, it allows them to have that information on the screen, but it pops them down in the corner, so we can still kind of check skills like eye contact. Are you reading from a card? How are your, presentation skills back and forth? It's very easy to use. You just kind of click on your option. You go to next. You'll give it a title and a description. And then as you click through, it asks you how you shared any, etc.
I have a little glitching out on my end. Are you getting that too, Dom?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I don't know. You guys up.
Sorry, we're just the audio's going in and out, but keep going.
Which is here. Okay. But essentially it just kind of gives them, I'll just dismiss out of that. Essentially it just gives them a countdown, and then it will record their screen, what they say, what they're doing, and what's on the back of their screen at the same time. When it's finished, it'll automatically save to their Google Drive. And then for us, it plays real nice with Google Classroom. It'll allow them to upload right there. They can go in and edit and clip and snip and do some very simple editing pieces within that video. But if you're doing it for presentation purposes, like I use it, I don't really feel the need to have them edit. I want to see what their presentation was from the get-go. This is a tool that has allowed a lot of growth, and I've seen a lot of progress in my kids from the beginning, from the first presentation they did all the way to the end. And while maybe we didn't do as many presentations in person this year, they were still presenting constantly through Screencastify and using that. And I think that'll really show when they hit their junior year next year. So that's a tech tool that I've been using more of lately. I found it to be real beneficial, and it's real helpful in terms of the presentation skills for me.
Awesome. That's a great tool. We have that in our district. They bought it when COVID hit, and they expanded it for the kids, not just the teachers, but the kids have access to that too. So
nice.
But we have the license, which is nice to have. A very powerful tool.
Yeah. And and what's great about it is you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. There's some things, even though there's a lot of like shiny, new, really cool stuff. This one's been around for a while. They've got a lot of things built into it, and it's still a phenomenal app to use. And they're making iterations and they're updating, they're doing all that stuff. But some people look at it like, oh, Screencastify, I was using it so many years ago. Well, that's okay. Sometimes tried and true is okay,
And some of the tools have gone by the wayside from when some of us started, but a lot of them have upgraded. And I know there's tools that people are like, oh, I use that. I'm like, oh yeah, not so much snobby, but I tried that before. I didn't like it. Like, have you seen it in the last couple of years? And they're totally revamped. So it's something, never throw it out of the toolbox. Always go back and revisit, because you don't know if they're upgraded or not.
Well, and it's nice too if the kids have used it in the past. It's something that they're familiar with. So for us to say, hey, we're going to do currently they're working on, they did some research within the UN sustainability goals. They had to go through and pick one, but we didn't have to share a tech piece or, give them a new avenue to use. We were able to say, listen, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do it through Screencastify. Here's what we're looking for, and they feel comfortable enough to use that because it's a tool that's been around for a while. They've used it in different classrooms. They've used it in different avenues. And it's something that's familiar to them. So that kind of helps too. We get the biggest bang for our buck there because it's not something that they're afraid to use. They know how to use it. And it kind of works well for everyone. So some of those original ones that have upgraded, I think definitely have some major benefit. Yeah.
And it's not hard to learn for new students either, or even adults coming in, haven't used it before. It's not a hard tool to not necessarily master, but become comfortable with.
Yeah. One thing I will say, if it's when the video is done, if you don't allow it to download all the way, it'll show like on the right of the screen. If you don't allow that to fully download to Google, sometimes you will lose your video, but it does have that automatic save to Google. So you just can't be, I tell them, wait until the bar fills. You can't be too quick to close the Chromebook and move on because it does have that auto save and that auto upload. You just have to give it the minute to do that. Yeah. So, and then it's all in one folder. They have a Screencastify folder. It automatically dumps everything into that folder for them, and then they can do what they need for it. So, the back end of that, as far as organization goes, is pretty user-friendly too.
Yeah, that's awesome. And again, with that being around for a long time, the way it connects to Google Drive, Google Classroom, they've got a lot of that figured out. So all their APIs, all their hooks are pretty solid. So that's great.
And it works on, the various computing platforms, Chromebooks, Microsoft machines, Apple machines, which of course it would, but
chasing that fruit. All right, here we go. Kick into our next tech note. All right, so this is a little bit of a cheat, I guess. So talk about, keeping your eyeballs on your email. So friend of PAECT, definitely friend of Dom's, a friend of ours, Rochelle Poth, has been doing a lot of different events lately. and she did reach out to me, and I missed it last weekend, and I do apologize. But upcoming, she's doing a collaboration with Holly Clark. So AI infused classroom, so a free learning event, inspiring ideas to shift teaching and maximize meaningful learning in a world of AI. So 10 sessions in 10 days is how they have it presented. So the website I'll put up here on the screen as I transition. Here we go. So the website ai-infusedclassroom.com. When you head here, all right, so it just opens up again, looks like the logo I just showed you. And so you can free learning events for educators, you can register, and just scrolling down, just looking at the different information. Let me go ahead and do a little zoom action here. So the 10 sessions, what you get access to about, over the course of the 10 days. So you can work ahead, work behind, with a 30-day window to view and absorb the content. So you sign, like a lot of the times I'll sign up for webinars and I'm like, it's 30% chance of me making it. But I'm hopeful that I was on that list to be there, that they send me the email, say, hey, we noticed you signed up, you weren't able to make it. Here's the video. And then I'm able to catch up with that later. So they have that built into this concept as well. And then some quick and fun challenges to go with it. All right. And just again, and then here's the speakers they're pulling in. So pretty good. Holly Clark kind of kicking it off. Journée Armand. I'm not sure who that is, but looks like definitely inspiring. Miss Lopez, I do know from the Flip arena. So she works with Flip in the Microsoft organization. We've got Donnie Piercy, and that's a new name to me. There's Rochelle, of course, PAECT, and the Merrills. They've done a lot of different keynoting. Great group there. So I just know based on the speakers they have lined up, this is going to be an exciting event. And again, we were talking about all the different things, the cutting edge, all the stuff going on with AI. Well, this is a group that's they're grounded in their pedagogy. So as they're sharing this with you, there's going to be sound information about how they're using it, how they're utilizing it, and just to give you some great ideas. So let me, so they put the session list up. And if you go to register, just to walk through, really just give it that, and then they're going to send you that information. So just, put it in. So real simple for you to be able to go through and do as far as giving them your information and signing up. So Holly Clark does a lot of great stuff, seen a lot of different things that she's done through the Microsoft connections that I have, and then even seeing her at different events. She did a lot. She did with Matt Miller, who does Ditch That Textbook. They've got a little digital learning podcast that they're doing together now with Blended Learning, with Book Creator and Microsoft Flip. So she really does a lot of great things, has a lot of people that she works with. So I highly would recommend, I've already signed up, highly would recommend you joining this. And even they have TikTok channels, communities, different books, all right, some different activities. So it's www.ai-infused, INFUSED, CLASSROOM.com. All right, for those of you who are listening on their favorite podcast player. So AI-infusedclassroom.com. So definitely highly recommended. Again, we're all trying to gobble up as much, looking at what AI is going to be doing in our classrooms and how we're going to be able to harness it for all the good it has. So it's definitely pretty good there. I know I'm in different groups, whether it be Microsoft related, whether it be Google related, of all the different things that are coming down the pike, and putting a lot of forethought. I think there's going to be a lot introduced at ISTE as far as the AI components to all the different platforms and everything that we're using. I do know some of the Google AI team will be at the PAECT Playground, sharing about some things they have going on. Bard was just released and stuff they have going on in the back end. So a lot of great stuff there. So I definitely plan on, absorbing as much as I can from that 10-day event.
Yeah. And along with that, the links, the links of everything we've been discussing. It's a late night.
It's all good.
Those links will be in a Wakelet. It'll be in the description for each broadcast of it on YouTube. We'll put it into Spotify. So when you check the podcast online, you'll be able to click on the link, and it'll take you. You have a list of links to the show and to the things we're talking about on the show. So that way, if you miss something, we'd appreciate it if you go back and listen to it again, because listenership helps. But if you don't have time to do that, click on the links. It'll be a Wakelet, and everything will be there for your perusal.
Yes, sir. And we know it'll be there because Dom is in charge of that and he takes care of that. Very diligent with that. So we really appreciate that.
It'll be a couple days because I am proctoring the next 2 days. So I am locked down, offline, and just pacing the proctoring room as the students are taking the keystones.
Getting his steps.
Yes,
Getting
get my
his
steps in.
Awesome. All right. Well, good stuff. I really appreciate everything you had to share, Gina and Dom, and putting together another pod, and a lot of exciting stuff happening. We're a little Western PA heavy tonight. We'll have to figure that out and balance it out a little bit, but that's
Nothing wrong
okay.
with that.
That's all good. No, awesome stuff. Yeah. So, all right. Well, as we close out here, Dom, a lot of great stuff happening. We got our working on planning our next pod. We're getting closer to ISTE. A lot of awesome stuff happening in our organization. So always great. So, just want to thank everybody for watching and listening.
Yes.
And as always, remember,
PAECT,
we are
the voice of EdTech in Pennsylvania
and beyond. All right. Thanks for listening, and let's kick it to our sponsors. PAECT and the PAECT Pod would like to thank our corporate council sponsors. Thank you to ClassLink, Max Cases, Go Guardian, and Bloom. Thank you to Sam Labs, DRC Data Recognition Corporation, and EduSpire. Tech, the next step. PAECT thanks these sponsors and thanks you for listening to another episode of the PAECT Pod.